Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Let's wait for one more minute and then we shall begin the session. I hope I am audible and the screen, PPT screen is also visible to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me introduce myself to you. Hello, guys. I'm Sangeeta Verma, all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal, with the virtual combinations of and with the help of LearnOvet actually. Guys, I'm to say that I'm an MBA from Banking and Finance, and recently only I've completed my MPhil in Management. In this slide, you can see my work experiences. I have different work experiences with different industries, you can say. But currently, I'm associated with an import-export company, which is an MNC, and situated at Kathmandu. Over there, I'm working as an DZM. And along with that, it's a great pleasure to get associated with LearnOvet. Thank you, LearnOvet, again. And I'm a freelancer, session taker at the LearnOvet. Friends, today's topic of the session in HR is competency mapping. Over here, we see what's the meaning of competency. We'll understand what is separately first competency and then mapping, and then how it gets combined with complete word that is competency mapping. So let's first understand what is competency. Whenever in a normal life also, if a person is having some skills, knowledge, abilities to perform any sort of task with, then that's a competency. But what is mapping? Mapping is a balance between strength and weakness, opportunities, threats, everything gets combined. But basically it is with strength and weakness to perform any sort of activities to get associated with your skills, knowledge, and abilities. You need to get a proper balance between strength and weakness. So you mostly measure your strength and weakness, that is mapping. Now when it gets combined with competency mapping, it's like you can say in HR formation, whenever in a company the human resources, the prime assets of an organization or a company is human resources, right? And when those human resources, skills, knowledge, abilities are completely used with the proper measurement mapping of strength and weakness in different framework, that is reward management, HR planning, job analysis, recruitment and selections, placement, performance management, training and development, success and planning. And in all these things, whether that is job evaluation or the HR policy making, HR agencies working in an HR framework, when you know that at what particular point the resources of an organization, that is the human resources of an organization, skills, ability, knowledge has to be properly mapped with the strength and weakness in that resource, particular resource, and you should help to bring out all those turning point for them and for the organization is known as competency mapping. It means you are actually properly making a balance, you are mapping it, you are measuring it with the strength and weakness of an HR resources, human resources, to fulfill the requirement of organizations and the requirement of employees associated in that particular organization to perform given task, duties, and job with the maximum utilizations of their skills, knowledge, and abilities, are known as competency mapping. So over here is completely saying you that when competency mapping is defined as the process of identifying the key competencies in your human resources which have the ability to do something efficiently and helping in achieving the goals of the organizations and making the organization successful is known as competency mapping. So a particular human resource can have different types of competency holding in, that might be educational competency or extra educational competency, that's like intellectual motivations, emotional socialization and social, whereas these are the types. But when it comes with the methods of competency mapping, how you evaluate that your particular human resources have got certain competencies, you being an HR manager or being an owner or being at a higher top management level, you use certain methods to evaluate it, to map it, to measure and identify, that is assessment center, official incident testimonials, interviews rounds, and questionnaires. So till here, any confusion, guys? If there is, please let me know. So I can move to the next slide, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How, like, you can say that competency phases in it with the when you get associated with a particular core HR career, how you identify or how you go with the competency phases. A competency always mapping has always got a system to get followed in an organization. That's with the core competency and functional competencies. How it comes is like in a core competency, it might be organizational goals, values, cultures, and business objectives. But when it comes with the functional competencies, it's like performing the duties, the roles, responsibilities, tasks given to you with a proper way, and then over there it's completely identified and measured. So threshold can be like essential characters to do a particular job, and success factors are like characteristics that differentiate superior performance from average ones. So in a threshold competency also there are two. One is behavioral and one is technical. So when behavioral comes out, it might be how politely you talk, how patiently you perform, how smart working you are, how you behave with your superiors and juniors, or being a team leader, how you get completely combined with the team and you make the process of fulfilling the particular goal of organization along with that particular individual also. So it can be a skill set or behavioral indicators. So these competency phase has to get followed in an organization in order to achieve the utmost or uttermost of the goal of and success of organization. Basically, if you will see, an organization also have certain goals and succession planning. Even with the employee also have a, or HR human resource also have got a particular goal and succession to achieve in his career and in a personal life. So will that with the balanced functionals, all this has to be properly measured identified, and if there is certain thing which a organization has to contribute in order to bring out the major competencies of the employees, then that has to be done by the HR sector. Till here, any confusion, guys? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, how does the competency framework designs? It is always designed in a four-way. That is, one is core competency. What's like over here? It can be a set of values, attitudes, and beliefs that organization stands for all the employees and demonstrating every day. Because a person's learning phase is every day, every moment, every second. So, uh, the organization and the human resources both have to understand that their attitudes between each other in the market or around the eh, complete organizational framework has to be every day with the proper designations of setting the values, measuring it, following it with the proper attitude in order to achieve the goals. Then comes people competency. People competency like how good the you are with your skills and abilities in order to get interacted with the uh, other human resources of your organizations, that might be on a junior level or senior level or your colleagues. So that comes over there. Then comes technical competencies. Technical competencies like it might be the knowledge of others, like having knowledge of any software, particular software, how good you are with the MS Office, how smartly you handle out the technical problems associated with your machine. That's like knowledge and skill abilities for the technical executions, how good you give these services and other things to and product to your customers, even just not for customers. Okay, it's like with your seniors, juniors, with your team leader, with your team colleagues, uh, even with in your personal life also, how good you are with the people competency and technical competencies. Then comes with the administrative competency. Over here it's like every day the human resources are going with different type of attractive things which even organization has to address, and the superiors or the team leader, seniors or HR manager has to address in order to have a smooth and proper operation of daily functioning of the work and daily functioning of the task associated with in order to achieve the organizational goals and successions. How you can like get the competency mapping applications, how you can handle it with it, that is completely a sector of five. Majorly in any of the organization will follow this five. First is competency based recruitment. Whenever an employee is hired, it's like it's in order to have a less mistakes in hiring and maintaining the proper balanced, that is proper budget balance in an organization. That's why it reduces the chances of a costly hiring mistake and increases the likelihood of identifying and selecting the right person for the right job. Means whenever you hire any sort of recruitment agency or even being an HR manager or HR's associates, if you are interviewing any person or you are doing a recruitment for a particular organization, your organization, it should be with the competency based recruitment so that you will have lesser mistakes, less low balance budget handling, and you get a success of always choosing a right person for a right job. Means the skill, abilities and knowledge of a particular person, particular human resource is evaluated properly, identified properly, and then for the particular job the person is hired. Then comes competency based performance appraisal. Always perform performance appraisal with the base of having a proper competency. That is like you being an HR manager, HR associate, or an organizational's head. Always have a clear and proper and straight balanced standard for any of the organization, any of the employee or human resources with the performance based, not on a personal basis, not on a favoritism or anything like that, but on a performance. Like even conduct of objective feedback meetings, directions with regard to specific areas of improvement, because improvement is always, it's not that only employees need improvement. No, organization also needs improvement, and organization boss also needs, boss or not a leader also needs a area of improvement, and always have an open based clarification, open based introductions, open based feedback taking from your juniors, from your seniors, from your colleagues. Means get an always open for the improvement areas and always evaluated on the performance. Then comes with the training. What you do is like certain employees are good with their every form, but there's a lack of training for particular technical aspect. That might be software handling, that might be handling of any machine which you are using, like different uh, areas of the competency. So over there you give an opportunity to your human resources in order to understand and focus on the training, and after training you evaluate them, or you identify for what particular thing the employee can do, or even the employee needs to have another specific training or not. Means opportunity to identify, develop specific training program focused on training, enabling improvement in specific technical and managerial competency. Then comes competency based development. Over here you should always understand that these enhances the understanding of development, and the individual gets the necessary tool to take responsibility. Development never means only your human resource needs to get developed, or your organization, both the requirement. Even a lower level of employee in your organization also needs development, and higher level also needs an employee development. So giving the managerial tool to empower them to develop people. Then competency based pay. Provide an incentive for employees to grow and enhance their capabilities. Do not always like ignore or do not underestimate any of the human resource of your organization, because you never know that which particular employee holds a skill or ability at what time and what time they are going to use it. So it's like always get an open door for feedback acceptance and feedback giving. Till here, any confusion, guys? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go to the next slide. How is the competency model mostly it's like seen in an organization? It's like collectively develops with everything, that is job profiles. Means what does success look like, selection of an employee. Means do candidates fit the profile, are we interviewing against the profile? Like if there was a job vacancy announcement from your organization for let's see for the sales coordinator, or let's say for the marketing associate, and though the person has come for that, you are interviewing that person for another thing, so that is also wrong. So it should be very clear for the organization, for the person who is like going for interview or taking interview. The job profile has to be very clear, the selections of the employees should be very clear. Then succession planning, Is talent aligned with the strategy or not? You should see that. How do we build the bench? Bench means the proper door or strict things for employee and employer both. Are the right people in the right job or not? That answer. Succession planning is only possible if you see a right person at the right job, and that person needs, again, needs the another succession planning. And if the person is with the skill abilities of another thing and is working in another thing, that is a big mess done by human resource manager. That has to be corrected and has to be evaluated very properly. The assessment, measuring the right things. What is the fit? It's not that you go with a random selection or random assessment, random job profile. No, it has to be very systemized and less time consuming. That comes with the onboarding. How can we best align new hires with the profile and culture? Whether you are giving on the job training or off the job training, or you are like uh, letting the reimbursement or promotion, transfer, changes, whatever you are doing, it should be very clearly with the new hires profile and the cultures which has to they have to understand of the organization. Then comes performance management. It's like performance management has to be always twice a year is done in the organization, so that every employee every employee feels that we are the asset for the organization. Development, if there is a need of any certain trainings, improvement, provide your human resources, because keeping human resources, making them feel the thing that they get the areas and opportunities to grow and accept will be helpful for the organization also and for the employees also. So keep the door open for improvement and growth. Always take feedback from them also. Give feedback. It's not that only juniors has need a feedback. No, even seniors, even the core organization owner also sometimes needs some feedback. So give a genuine, logical, and corrective steps, suggestions and advices, feedback, so that over there that particular human resources can become a fixed deposit assets for your company. That's the most important thing. Till here, any confusion? I hope competency model is clear to everyone. Okay, let's go. Always understand that the competency assessment is not about comparing people to people. It's about comparing a worker to a standard. Obviously, it's very clear in any of the organization. You go with the personal, you go with any sort of industries. Different industries have different aspects, but they always have a standard of their work environment. And whenever a human resource or new hires or old hires or a person who is seeking for the promotion, when they are compared, when the assessment is done, their assessment is not done between A or B. Their assessment is done whether the person A has reached with the company or organization set work or not. So always compare a worker to a standard set in an organization for any sort of work set. Then comes, like you can say the example, the more clearly if you say that like training, making an strategic, understanding business, making plannings, policies, handling issues, conflicts, then always being on a mode of active mode, and then resourceful, using different channels to collect the information which is beneficial for organization and reaching to the goal, and then having a relationship building for with the organizational people and for the outer expressed people also, so that becomes helpful for the organization. So that has to be seen with the core competency. When it comes with the other things, no, like beginners, competent, proficient, and expert, yeah, when a person is like just completed the education and is going in the platform of real platform of the working scenario, then over there it's just person is just a beginner. So their competency might not be to that level extent. So organization has to give an area and open a door for those beginners to achieve, to learn, and make their skills, knowledge, and abilities more sharper and sharper time to time. And with the days of the friends, that person can be an expert, or that person can be the most loyal employee of your organization. So how you make your employees loyal towards your organization, and you being in loyal to your employees, is a major aspect which these days organizations are seeking for. Because loyalty is not measured with the monetary aspect, loyalty is not measured with the behavioral aspect, not with the social aspect. That's the thing, how you are giving an environment to your organization, your human resources to grow, achieve, enhance, and then return back to your organization in a form of making your organization goal achievement with the full succession. That's it. And then, yeah, with the if you are in a HR, right, human resources, and then that their competencies are a little different. So in their competencies, what it can be like, how good you are in making position requirement, means how you hire the employees with the job profile, recruitment, selections, trainings, succession plannings, performance appraisal, job changes, job evaluation, job analysis, how you do all those things. All this gets combined with the HR applications. And these days, what is happening is like everything, whatever, whether that is with the marketing, whether that is for the operation, whether that is for the supply chain, human resources, administrative, or you say with the sales, and or anything has been getting combined with the technical aspect. Mostly software is over there, and you just need to work on those software on a very efficient way. And your efficiency, your effectiveness is measured on that basis, and those applications has to be known by every HR manager, HR associates. So it has to be with that. And when it comes with the like giving providing trainings to your employees on a different sector areas, many things gets combined with, you know, how to get with the making strategies, how creative thinking a person is with you, emotional intelligence, and all, like making a sector expertise. You might be good at the promotional branding, you might be good at like a job uh, in the vacancy uh, trade, means you could say like recruitment way, selections. You might be good in the human resources training sector. So all your those expertise, your those skills and knowledge has to be always been groomed by an organization, and has to have a maximum utilization of that. So relationship building, global and cultural competency, business and financial estimate. You might be good at the leadership. We are having a leadership qualities in you. You are very professionalism. You know how to keep personal and professional separate and make a proper balance in that. So all these competency has been like time to time gets enhanced in an employee and even in an employer for the beneficial of organization. Till here, any confusion, guys?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's go with the. These are just the way how competencies assessment are done. What's the process? It's very, you can say, different industries, different sector, they set their own way of doing it. They might choose certain competency tools and identifications, and they might follow that. Like some organization, what they do is they do with the proper check and evaluate process. Some go with the see the how good they are at the role playing, how good are they at the meetings, how good are the seminars, workplace, between the colleagues. Then comes when in those tools are used, what are those tools? It might be assessment center. It's like questionnaire session, interview sessions, certain issues, certain conflict resolutions by an employee. Then 360-degree feedback comes with the broad benchmarking and case studies. Some employees are very good at the case studies and then bringing out the proper solution for the organization beneficial. Observation of critical skills, behavior and attitude to a second, measuring outcomes, organizational and teams and individual gaps, then structure experience, the top pediometric survey, behavioral event interview. So all these tools are used for identifying the different competencies of employees and then grooming on that. It might be like person might be good with the in basket exercise, role playing, even you can say with the departmental role playing, with the employee grievance role playing, certain case studies role playing. So all these tools are used in order to identify the competency of an employee, and even unknowingly or with their employee might not go on that particular basis, but employees also do evaluate the company, the organization where they are working. It might be now not like an organization doing it on a department wise or with the individual ones, but do keep in mind that your human resources, your actual assets of an organization also keeps doing the assessment of the organization. So it's like employees and employers both competencies identifications has to be properly done by each other, and then with the cooperation, with the coordination, both employees and employer has to grow and achieve success in their organization. Then there are different methods, okay, and different companies use it with like you can say assessment center, interviews one by one, sometimes psychometric tests, then questionnaires. So all these concepts are being like used, and when some tools it might be critical thinking, then grading, behavioral aspect ones, then uh, job paper assessment, feedback, one by one feedback, face to face talking, group discussions. All this comes in this competency mapping sector. And when you see that these competency mapping tools, models are used by an organization, what happens is like the employee starts doing their self assessment because they know that their competencies will be mapped, will be evaluated, will be checked, will be corrected. So what they do is their self-assessment every week. They start doing it by them, and they figure out themselves what is the weakness which they have to turn out on a strength, and what are the strengths which they can more increase and invest on that particular area. You can see over here, it's like case study. When it's case study, you do different methods are used, research is needed, then sources are collected, examinations, evaluation, conclusions, data are collected, evidences are collected. You might sit and do the group discussion, or you might run to the market survey to identify at what level your company stands for. Then comes with the psychometric test. It's like reasoning, okay, numerical reasoning or logical reasoning, you can say. Then comes verbal reasoning, benchmarking reasoning, diagrammatic reasoning, then logic reasoning, and error checking out reasoning. So these psychometric tests are also done in order to do the competency mapping. Inter exercise, it can be like work efficiently, identifying the key issues of the organization or of the employee and try to resolve it as soon as possible. Then comes with the set priorities, accept its problems, explore the issues, suggest options. Don't take decision on behalf of your employee, but or your team members. Suggest them and let them choose what they want to do. Make recommendations, but with the view that recommendations are done and other evaluation your human resource manager has to do. Then give reasons for your recommendations, give reasons, valid reasons, logical reasoning for any of your tasks performed, and then start playing the roles. That role might be interpersonal skills, communication skill, conflict resolution skills, and developing insight skill with the group discussion making. So all these has to be properly used, and all these models, these tests, when they are done in an organization time to time, what happens is employees also know at what level their employers is sorry employer knows that at what level their employees are, and human resource manager knows at what time who has to be promoted, demoted, job changes, department changes, or has to be fired, or needs a way of training and making corrections on their mistakes. So in this way you can go with the many people, they go with the feedback sessions and then competency assessment samples. These are the samples actually. Might be some go with the numbers, okay, some go with the different degrees of aspect. These are followed in companies. And when it comes with the method, no, there are different methods. It's like you can say basically it's like assessment method which helps in doing competency mappings. Things like observations, how good the employees are helping out with uh, the real work activities, simulations, and work activities. Then comes with the simulations of how hypothetical situations are thrown to the employees, and those are made on a way of a proper zenetic things and letting them to be open. So when the organization goes with different aspectal things, no, it's very very different and difficult to know your human resources, because every individual whoever is working in your organization might have different levels of understanding, different levels of job performing way, and it becomes your duty, being proper HR manager, it becomes your duty, you letting them sometimes to understand their skills and knowledge, because you know that a person might be introvert or extrovert. Extrovert people are like if they need something they'll say it verbally, but introvert people's might be having a basket full of skills and abilities in them but are not able to express and so being an HR or being a proper HR manager, it becomes your way, that your responsibility, you can say, that letting your human resource to break the breakers of that, uh, holding up these skills and making them to start saying for all that things. It might be questionable aspects, it might be athletic aspects. So a department, whether that is any department, but the human resource department is the most important one, because if you do not have that department with the uh, uttermost eccentric, what happens is your you are having an organization, you have hired people, so you're just working out in your organization, but you're not able to achieve the successions. So in order to have that, it's very important that time to time the assessment, time to time checking out your employees technical aspect, then working aspect, administrative aspect, and letting them to groom them up and get open with their skills and abilities. Always remember that a good HR person always values every individual or employee of his or her organization. And at that particular point, it's very important that being an HR manager or being a responsibility taker of your organization, retaining employees and retirement of an employee plays a vital role. The lesser you have a employee turnover ratio, the higher prominent is your organization. Because when it comes with the every time employee turnover, what happens? Your budget expressions, you might have a wrong name, or uh, outer other companies might, your competitors might less evaluate you. So always have an emphasis on having an open feedback sessions with your employees, and there should be a brief way where a comfortableness over there that your juniors or seniors can come and share their ideas, knowledge, might advise you, might suggest you. So let them get open with that. And while mapping, while evaluating, while doing the assessment of the individual portion of your organization, whether it is department wise or sector wise, how you do it, being an HR, avoid favoritism. Don't be biased, because the assessment is not about comparing the people. Competency mapping is not about comparing the people, it's about identifying the person's competency in the process of working, fulfilling job requirement, taking the responsibilities, measuring out the roles with the standard set by organization or with standard set by the human resources policies. Always remember that these plays a vital role in it. So till here, any confusion, anything to ask,
No, ma'am.
guys? Anything to ask? Okay,
No, ma'am. All clear.
all clear. So if all clear, Meghana, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, then if everything is clear to you, tell me if you have to do psychometric test,
Yeah, ma'am.
competency mapping once. If you have to do psychometric test, what will be the major selections of evaluating or checking out or doing the assessment by you being an HR associate in an organization, and you are not working any sort
Can
of
you repeat the question, ma'am?
yeah. Suppose you are an HR associate in
Yeah, ma'am.
you can say textile industry. You're an HR associate over there. You have to do the competency mapping of department which mostly designs the textiles or chooses the material for your organizations. Over there, if you have to do psychometric test, what will be the proper assignment by you?
Uh, I think I would go with the types of psychometric tests would be error checking or inductive reasoning, like according to that.
Yes, always remember, guys, that whenever it is psychometric test, it's not that you go randomly. No, you have to see at what industry you are, what sector you are. So, in a if you are in a textile one, what you'll see error and checking one, right? Error might be in the choosing of material or the threads, right? Color combinations. You go with that, right? But if you are in IT, you go with the another perspective. So in psychometric test also, during competency mapping, the perspective of HR manager, being an HR manager, changes as per industry and sectors. Always remember that. Thank you, Meghna. So
Thank you, ma'am.
this much for today. I hope I was able to make you understand about the competency mapping and how you have to do assessment. And I'll request that from now only develop a habit of doing self assessment, because when you do self assessment, you know what is your strength, your weakness, and where you need to correct, because no one can know you better than you, right? So start doing self assessment and keep making the best version of yourself. Thank you for your attention and have a great weekend. Hope to see you all again. Thank you so much for attending.